And we're live! Hello, everybody, and welcome to Self-Care Sunday! It is a beautiful day, rainy day, quiet day in Bushwick, Brooklyn, coming at you live. Want to really shout out all of you waiting in the chat so patiently. I know we're going live later than planned, like an hour and a half later than planned. I really appreciate your patience. And for everybody who's not tuning in live, thank you. And don't you feel justified for checking this out later. I severely underestimated the challenges of baking, which I will be doing later today with our very special guest, the one and only Zach Libresco of Wolf 359 renown. Phenomenal actor and good friend of the show, and the first guest to ever come on for a second time. Is that true? That may not be true, I think, now that I think about it. Anyway, he's definitely the first person to come on live for cooking, and that's going to be amazing. So, yeah, welcome, everybody. I want to shout out some folks. Wow, this chat has just been jamming. We got Dell Does Stuff. What up? Reagan S. Robert Boulderstone. Danny, Love Kirby Forever. Tree Kid. That's right. We got Double Zach. Zach Squared. Zach's on Zach's. Crystal Tiny Falcon. Hello. Welcome. So many of you in the chat. So awesome to see such a lively conversation. Naomi Cotton. Welcome. Emily Wang, Eula Chavez, Quinn, oh my gosh, Chiara, Jessica Green, so many folks. Wow, and so many new names. Really just awesome to have you all here. I wanted to just go through a little bit of announcements, updates before we start cooking. So let's see, what do we got for you today? Boo, boo, boo. First, I wanted to say thank you to everybody on my Patreon for the amazing support. You guys have been so patiently waiting. I just relaunched this page so that it is now a pay what you want, pay what you can community with this awesome barfing unicorn. If you remember a former episode of Self-Care Sunday, we came up with the idea Renaissance unicorns, which is the gender-neutral Renaissance man, Renaissance person, Renaissance human, Renaissance unicorn, sort of a jack-of-all-trades situation. And yeah, this is what is funding my many initiatives on the internet, including but not limited to Scrivember, Write a Script in November, which... if you entered last year and submitted an audio drama script as part of the audio drama competition, I will be sending out the final vote request out. Voting ends on the 31st, so make sure to get your vote in today or this week. If you were an audio drama submitter for Scrivember, I also am... relaunching, oh, you can see my face go red because the site's red, relaunching Focused AF. This is a podcast, a nonfiction podcast that I did last year. I'm probably going to bring it back in April, but if I get to 50 patrons before then, and that's with as little as $1, 50 patrons from 35, I'm just going to go live whenever that happens. But yeah, otherwise probably in a couple months of preparing. But I really appreciate all of that. And you know what? You just being here is amazing. And in fact, between Sundays, for the cost of just showing up and clicking into it, you can join this community thingy, that I, put up with a couple amazing folks in this community, the Self-Care Sunday community. Shout out to Rena, shout out to Alicia. Patrick's been helping, and I know Shelly has been a big help in this. And yeah, you guys can jump in here. We got conversations about creativity, conversations about self-care. We got crazy forum games. A lot of fun stuff going on here between Sundays. And yeah, this will be part of that new podcast that's coming back. And you can also leave me like a little voicemail on the website, focused.af. So without further ado, I wanted to introduce our amazing guest, Zach Libresco. If you listen to Wolf 359, the sci-fi audio drama that I was in for the last 3 years, I hope you have listened. If you haven't, you should listen. And yeah, this is Zach Libresco's Twitter. Go give him a follow. It's Zach Libresco. And what we're going to be doing today, we'll meet him on over in the kitchen. And what we're going to be doing today is making cupcakes thanks to Maya Zolf. Maya, an amazing fan of Wolf 359 and an awesome member of this community, sent me a Secret Santa last year where she made
Wolf 359 themed cupcakes.
These Wolf 359 themed cupcakes. They look amazing. The fondant involved was a lot more difficult than I expected, so that's why we're here so late. And yeah, that is what we're going to be doing today. But before we meet Zach over in the kitchen, I just wanted to share a quick vlog from my friend and sort of the gear that makes this show work before it works is the none other than Trevor Wallace, and so I'm going to pass it over to my man Trevor, and I'll meet you on over in the kitchen with Zach Libresco.
Hey, Self-Care Sunday. This is Trevor, one of Zach's friends. I'm in beautiful Bushwick, Brooklyn on this sunny afternoon, making a grocery store run to get the ingredients for the cupcakes for today's stream. I think what's going on here is a concept for a pacifier-themed kids show, perhaps. Maybe they're superheroes. Maybe they're rebellious teenagers. I don't know, I'd watch it. Now, it's very important you use sticky note technology to make a grocery list. Gotta keep it old school. Now, it's very important to never get distracted. Always stay exactly on your ingredient list. Unless it's ice cream. You ever wonder if chickens feel self-conscious about which cartons their eggs get to be in? Like, these styrofoam guys must not feel very good when these guys get to be on the carton. Look at them, all happy and clucking. Well, we got our first batch of groceries. It wasn't everything we needed. We still need the decorations for the radios on top. Like our intrepid space explorers, we must push on. Wow, this one's really beautiful. It's also apparently a daycare. Probably the most interesting daycare any of us have ever been to. So grocery store number 2, exactly the same as grocery store number 1. Not much variety in American food stores. Same products everywhere. Obviously we're gonna get flashy silver ones because these are Wolf 359 cupcakes. Space. This store is tempting me to cheat by buying one of these pre-made cake mixes. But that's not what Self-Care Sunday is about. We're gonna do it from scratch. Well, it took 2 grocery stores, but we got what we need. Now I'm headed back to the Zach's. Living in New York has turned shopping into one of my favorite daily activities because you get a nice walk, you get a little workout carrying your bags, and you get to listen to podcasts that you need to catch up on. All right, I'm back at Zach's place. Let's see if these guys can turn these ingredients into some tasty cupcakes. Have a great Sunday, everyone.
And we're here. One second, it got a little quiet. One sec. Hey guys, so we're just finishing setting up, but welcome Zach Libresco!
Cheers.
I just don't want to drop this. Come on.
Don't drop it.
Why is that having so much trouble getting on?
MacGyvering. Yeah, so this is how Zach does stuff. This week on Zach Does Stuff. So we're baking these Wolf 359 cupcakes. Thanks again, Maya Zolf. It's a great last name. Yeah, and so far, we've theoretically prepped the fondant. I have melted the chocolate and it is cooling. You probably can't see in there. Well, you're going to be able to see shortly because of all the MacGyvering. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to whip together some butter and sugar, then add the flour and the chocolate, and the cocoa powder. Yes, the cocoa powder. Add the flour and cocoa powder, and then the chocolate. And the eggs go in at some point, too. We're going to look at the recipe.
Yeah.
Because we've already learned, you want to look at the recipe before you do anything.
I'm going to put up the volume a little bit.
Please do. You're MacGyvering. I'm other MacGyver.
Amazing.
Great.
Back.
And everything is still under control. Don't worry about a thing. But hold on.
All right, everybody. We're back.
We're back in a big way. Oh, that's not it. No, sugar, butter, eggs one at a time, 3 of them. Flour, cocoa powder, and the chocolate.
So Zach,
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me on Self Care Sunday. I think we're back. All right, guys, this is solid now. So Zach and I are going to be talking a little later about completing creative projects. I definitely have a bunch of questions, but in the meantime. Zach, would you like to show us how I'm not much of a baker.
And I am also not much of a baker.
But
this is my baker, and me.
We are mad scientists.
Yes. And lots of people have signed your...
Yes, this is courtesy of DragonCon. We had some amazing an amazing meetup at DragonCon, and that is where this incredible Dr. Elias Selberg is from.
So we've got 1 1/4 cups of brown sugar with 125 grams of butter, and we're about to immersion blend it.
Amazing.
Would you like to get blending, Zach?
I would love to get blending, Zach.
Let me get these eggs.
I don't blend without like some kind of liquid situation, right? Is there like a milk involved?
No, we're gonna put some eggs. Hold on, let me look at this again.
Okay. I got you.
Go in there. I think that's it. Blend together your sugar and butter until light and creamy. No, it's gonna be beautiful. You're doing great.
It's like pooping out the sides.
Right, because it's not exactly a mixer, but it's what we have. And we are Zach and Zach doing stuff.
Oh, dude, that does not look right.
That's so gnarly.
Oh, man. So now you guys know why we went so late. We were just doing this with something way more difficult. Oh, I'm totally gonna have to get Andrew a new blender.
No, that'll keep doing it. It'll start getting better. Well, I've never immersion blended anything, but I assume it'll start getting. Are you nervous about it?
I'm nervous about losing a finger when going in here.
Yeah. Well, we could unplug it every time you did that.
We could.
Do. Yeah,
It's kind of working.
Yeah, it's definitely going to work.
It's definitely doing something.
All right. So I think there are 3 eggs total. But let me double check because a good baker can't remember anything.
Get a fucking fork. They're saying in the chat.
Stop doing what we're doing.
I think they're saying this an immersion blender and a hand mixer are not the same.
All right. Do you have a whisk?
I have a whisk.
Yeah.
I also have a whisk attachment.
How about would a whisk attachment work better? Chat. This is 3 eggs. Perfect.
Per what?
3 eggs total.
Okay.
Yeah. Why don't you get rid of that attachment? Was not the best.
Yeah. I think you're right, Zach. When you're right, you're right.
Yeah. Well. If you give me do you have a big fork or the whisk, I'll start doing that.
Zach, I'll do this. This is there we go.
Nice.
All right, so that comes
Oh,
up.
this is gonna be so much better.
Oh Jesus!
What?
I'm just gonna spray everything in my apartment.
Why don't you hold it at an angle? Yeah. There you go. This is better.
Thank you, Zach.
I mean, we might be blocking some of the view, but great. I'm gonna crack you another egg.
Okay.
This is going so much better. Thanks to the chat. Here, will you just give me a sec? This is really looking like something. Because we're going to add flour to it.
It's totally looking like something that might eventually become
Cupcakes.
cupcakes.
Last egg.
Should it be smoother?
It's gonna get a lot. The consistency's gonna change because all this stuff is dry stuff.
Right. I think it's just gonna get chunkier.
No, that's why we're gonna do it for a while.
Okay.
Here, let's scrape this side.
How many Zachs does it take? At least 2.
If you're wondering why we're not using a plastic
Spatula.
it's because we don't have one.
Yeah.
I could have brought something like that. Like,
I should have
which is,
asked. I didn't think.
But I didn't have a mixer. Cool. That was pretty good.
I made it with my own hand.
Alright, now turn that off. I'm going to add like half of this. Alright, now keep mixing.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think we want to scrape the sides.
Yeah. With our handy dandy butter knife.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, the chocolate smell. Mmm.
That Hershey's cocoa powder. Do they have access to the recipe?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, the recipe is down below in the description. or the video recipe, and then the recipe proper is in the description of that video.
Let me give you this.
Yeah. That is a lot of dry stuff.
We told you there'd be dry stuff. In the respect that, yeah, that looks like a lot of dry stuff. It's gonna get better, I think. It's gonna get better, Zach.
I'm like, where's the milk? Why is there no milk?
Look at that. That's all gonna happen. See? All the dry stuff in the. Cool. I'm gonna add the chocolate sauce.
Okay. Oh, so that's liquidy.
Yeah, that's gonna be liquidy.
Oh my god.
Oh,
What?
no, it just slathered a little bit.
Oh, okay. The quantity of chocolate in this is to my liking.
Me too.
Are you a chocoholic?
I'm like mildly addicted to sugar and also chocolate, so I try to be less than I am, but it's hard. That's a good consistency, man. It's getting good.
This is actually looking amazing. I doubted.
I'm gonna get a different kind of spoon to get the rest of this.
Yeah.
Yoink.
Salmonella mouse!
Oh, are you kidding? I have no respect for raw eggs. Not that we endorse that as a Zach and Zach podcast.
Right, please don't eat raw eggs.
Stay safe!
I'm mostly a stir fry kind of guy.
I can't really get out much more of this.
Please be gentle with the batter. Alright, I think that this is coming along nicely.
Oh my god, that looks... Do we have to put it in there, or can we just eat it all raw?
I'm a little bit like, this is just like...
I mean,
Loose.
also, then we don't have to do anything with the fondants.
No, we're making cupcakes.
No, we're definitely making cupcakes. Montana asked me before if I was going to bring her a cupcake, and I said, like,
Probably.
depends whether Zach has Tupperware. She's like, the only answer to that was yes. There was only one answer.
There's only one correct answer, and
And I
you
was
got
like-
it wrong.
And I was like, you have to explicitly communicate to me what you need, okay? No, that's just kidding. Just kidding. Alright.
I have Tupperware. Great.
I'm just going to do a little sample ski.
Yeah, this is chocolated. I also have the...
Well, that was delicious. Wow. Oh. No, I'm also going to chocolate it.
All right, buddy.
But we'll always remember why we were chocolated.
That's true.
Sorry, but yours is like nice and stuff.
It's all right. It'll get the marker is permanent. It can go through the wash.
The marker's permanent, just like mine.
Just like the memories.
Just like the memories, which will never fade.
Cool. What's next?
I think that's the end. I think we're gonna put them in the things. That was literally it.
That's so much easier than the fondant. Which we will play you the tape of us making the fondant as after we get this into into the oven.
Okay. Great. Here we go.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Do you think we overmixed this?
Can you?
Yo, it's baking. It's like you can definitely fuck up every step of it.
Oh my god.
No, I think
It's so not for me then.
yeah, whatever. It's gonna be good. Cool. We appreciate feedback. So if we're overfilling or underfilling these cupcake things, you just let us know.
Did you make the fondant with marshmallows or from scratch? Kate Fairchild, we made the fondant with marshmallows.
From scratch.
From scratch
With
marshmallows.
How do you do it without marshmallows? Internet?
I think like way more sugar.
That's like kind of gross.
Preheat your oven to 320 degrees.
Check.
He did that. He's on.
Well, Zach
on top of
edited
this.
videos. 'Cause that's what we do. I light the fire. Zach edits the videos. Do you want to do some of this, Zach, or are you okay
Oh, I'm okay.
watching?
This is so funny. Artemis Peters, do you think they overmixed it? Yes. Yes, I do.
Does that mean it's at like the best it'll taste right now? Because it was so delicious, the spoonful I had of this.
Guys, I love you, but this whole process is beyond feedback at this point.
I was more like the little things. Like, am I putting enough or too much batter in the cupcake?
I think you could fill them more generously.
No, because they have to.
Do they rise?
They rise.
Oh
yeah.
my god, they rise!
Yeah, because there's flour in it, right?
There's self-rising flour.
No, I don't know if we had the. I don't know what self-rising.
Do we have the right flour? I mean, this is really on Trevor at this point.
Yeah. I mean, we could just pin this whole thing on Trevor and his freaking awesome video. Hold on, Zach. I need use of my shoulders. All right, you can do that later.
I'm gonna throw out this eggshell.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just left that there in a panic earlier. Yeah, it's definitely overmixed because it's supposed to just like pour in.
Oh no!
No, it's okay though. All right, here we go.
Start printing this.
Yeah.
Oh man.
This is so funny.
Network television. I'm waiting for my cooking show.
Yeah. Also, like, yeah, we may not have made great cupcakes, but like, we're making great content. All right, come on.
Yeah. It's not about the cupcakes. It's about the content.
It's about the community.
Self-rising flour. Somebody had a quote about self-rising flour. Oh boy.
Because
Do they rise? Yes. If they've got flour, they'll rise. I'm gonna say that. Yeah, there is zero previous experience. My cooking goes through omelets, stir fries, and stuffed.
I think it's fair to say we both cook things.
Yes, we cook things.
We don't bake things.
Can I get you some water, Zach?
Oh yeah, please feel free to use my the Kepler mug that you own. Kepler mugs in the Wolf 359 store now.
Long story short, they did make me their god.
Great product placement.
Jesus.
All right, I think we've done about as well as we're gonna do with that. I'm just gonna eat all this stuff in this bowl.
Great. So should this go in the oven now?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
All right.
You didn't really think that one through, did you?
Zach, if you've learned anything from today, what have I thought through? Except the stream.
Oh,
So this is a 20-minute deal?
that I did not look up, but that'll be easy to look up.
Yeah, it's 20 minutes. All right. 20 minutes on the clock.
And Zach, we've talked a lot about that fondant.
So yeah, about that fondant, which is now refrigerating. Let me Let me show you guys how that fondant got made.
Wow, Zach just left. And soon, something else will happen. That's so good. Oh my god. This is like...
One second. Do this.
When I was a kid, this is kind of a fun embarrassing fact.
Yeah?
When my mom would bake things, then she would like give us the whisks or give us the bowl. But when she gave me the bowl, I had to take off my shirt first so I wouldn't spill all over it. That's a fun fact. Zach, you're supposed to laugh when I say stuff like that. Thank you.
Alright, and this is how the fondant got made. And we're back. Whoa, boy, that's loud. Alrighty. Yeah, whenever you're ready, Zach. Probably could have gone longer on the fondant video.
Zach, are we sure it's 20 minutes? Did you check?
Do you want to double check?
Yeah.
Or I can double check, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm double checking.
Do you have the mouse over there?
I do. Do you need the mouse in with you?
Not right now. So yeah, we're just double checking that we're not going to burn these things, and then we're gonna do this interview.
It's at 20, so I moved it down 2 minutes so that we can check it before it's done.
Okay. That sounds
Great. Do
responsible.
you need the mouse in there?
Oh no, I'm okay. I got this.
All right, you have multiple mice.
All right, so yeah, sit down and I'll reframe.
Great. I don't need to be headphoned if you're headphoned. I'm sorry I got so much chocolate on this.
Dude, that's fine. I'm gonna wash them.
Great.
And it'll be great.
What camera's hitting Tiffy?
That one.
Oh, it's a little GoPro-ish.
Can you
Move over?
No, I got it. Amazing. Ah, now that we're... Yeah.
Just a couple of things.
So, yes. Now that this sufficiently extra stream has come to the interview portion, talk to me, Zach.
I can't believe we made it this far.
I'm really amazed that we're not dead yet.
Oh, should we be doing... We probably need to do fondant, but we could do that at the end.
What do you mean, do fondant? Oh,
We
yeah,
have to
we'll
cut-
do that.
Because
We'll
then
do
the
that after
cupcakes have to
right.
cool, blah, blah, blah.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
So I was thinking that we could talk about just the completing of creative projects.
Right. Right. Well, so we recently completed a creative project.
We did, and I personally did not expect the existential crisis that I feel like I've been experiencing.
In what way do you feel like can you be more specific about what you've been feeling? And
Yeah. It's not unlike sort of like a death in the family. Like that sense of like group. I definitely am surprised at sort of how missing that feels, even though we still like are all in touch and like hang out.
Right.
That like knowledge that we're coming together to do, one more thing, or like sort of the end on the horizon no longer being on the horizon and being in the rearview mirror definitely has left me feeling a little bit like there's something missing. And I think there's a non-zero amount of like, whenever I get the question, which I've been getting a lot of, like, what's next? Of like, I don't really, like, I have ideas, but like,
Sure.
I think there's a non-zero amount of like, will any of the ideas be at the level that Wolf was, like, so sort of like, will I ever measure up?
Right.
Was that the peak? And so yeah. So
Well,
yes.
do you think it was the peak?
I mean, I don't like realistically. No.
Right.
I think we're just getting started.
Yeah.
But emotionally, it's like I've had that like sort of doubt and that thought in my mind.
Sure. Sure.
So
It's
yeah.
it's a special group of people, right?
Yeah.
What, did you do like any performing arts when you were younger, like in high school and stuff like that?
Not really. Like a couple of like shows when everybody was in a show, but not like
Gotcha.
I wasn't in the act. So that's, I think, something that I'd love to get your perspective on. Is
Sure.
One, what is your experience of sort of wrapping up Wolf 359? And then, like, how does that relate to your experiences as a theater actor who's been part of a company and put up shows that have come down? Yeah.
So when did we? Our last recording session for that was in November.
I think so, or like, yeah.
I mean, we had a couple pickups and we did a couple mini-sodes later, but for
Yeah.
the most part, we wrapped in like early November with the finale.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, for me, sometimes, I mean, so I'm predominantly a theater actor, and so that's all about getting communities of people together that turn into families and then disperse. So for me, it often helps to kind of like just like going to an audition, like have something to do after. So it's like when I go to an audition and I don't have something to do after, I just think about how that went, and in
Right.
sometimes less than healthy ways than the way
Right.
I want to. But luckily for me, when Wolf ended, I was in the middle of like tech for a show. I was when the final episode aired, I was in the middle of tech for a show I was doing at the New Ohio Theater downtown. But when that show ended, like I was irritable all the next day, and I was like, "Why am I?" It was 1 week of performances. I replaced somebody, and it was a great group of people, like a really fun. It's based on the Hans Christian Andersen story, The Snow Queen. But I was irritable. I was cranky. I was like kind of mad at everybody. I was like, "Oh right, I'm cratering. Like I'm just absolutely cratering right now because this community of people and like the feedback of being in front of an audience and playing with an audience and playing with people with an audience, like all of that went away. I think for me, Wolf ending, like because I'm working on a couple other. Because we also like had the party that night,
Right.
I kind of felt like the catharsis and closure of that because
Right.
you guys are on the creative production side in a different way.
Right.
And if you don't do it a lot, I totally get how you're like, wow, that thing I spend so much time doing.
Right.
I'm not, but because so much for me, performing is about an audience, and like I love the feedback from our audience is unbelievable. But because it's something different than being in the room with them, like I didn't crater in the same way because I was like, we did a good job.
Right. Right.
But in general, I like the really special projects. I mean, I've been lucky that sometimes for the really special projects, I happen to line up something after it. So then when I finish that project, then I just completely crater. It's like something my girlfriend Montana has been doing after like big auditions. Is I got her movie pass for Christmas.
Oh, amazing.
So or I got paid for half of her movie pass, so I got her like 6 months of movie pass.
Right.
So she just like goes to a movie after her auditions now, which is I think a great way to like take care of yourself if you have the time to do that.
Right.
Yeah, but it's hard to. I think another thing with Wolf is like the people we want to see will continue to see, in so much as the people who are in New York we can see like that, and the other people we can Skype with or be on AMAs with or do whatever else with.
Right.
But it's, I mean, that's like one of the great joys and sadnesses of creative projects, right? Like you build a new family, and then you have to say temporary goodbyes to that family in that context, at least.
Right.
Have there been many successful like getting back together shows in terms of storytelling of those groups of people getting back together? You know,
I'm not sure. You know, I think about like Family Guy might have been like that. You know, like shows that got canceled and then came back. Like Arrested Development might be like that.
Right. I didn't love the last season of Arrested Development.
I mean, it's a different animal.
Right. I mean, the way they had to shoot it, I think, didn't serve the story as well.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to
But I do love that show.
pick
like,
apart
general,
there. But
yeah.
and I wonder what it was like for the talent involved. Like, was it just like, fuck, like we got to get back together to do this? Was it like, oh yay, we get to get back together to do this? You know, so yeah, that's definitely a Firefly.
Right.
The people who did Firefly Arena's pointing out, and then they came back together to do Serenity.
Right.
The movie. Yeah.
Right. That's cool. Yeah, I actually still have to watch Firefly. I haven't done
so
it yet.
good.
That and Battlestar are
You're in for a
like
treat.
two big things I'm missing in my nerddom.
Yeah. That's funny. So I guess the word cratering. Can you unpack that a little bit? Like,
Yeah. I mean,
what do you mean when you say cratering?
I just feel sad and irritable, like sometimes when a project ends.
Right.
In a way that like it's a funk that's hard to shake. In a way that like a lot of the times I have a lot of different mechanisms I can use to get out of that feeling, which are like working out or talking to somebody on the phone, like usually contact or physical exertion from people.
I was gonna say, when you said like going to the movies, like I sort of see that as like distraction, and I think distraction can be healthy.
Yeah.
And then I also know myself, like I'll just like start to binge and fall into a hole that's like becomes like maladaptive.
Well, that's why I think going to the movies is different from going home. Like, because if you go to the movies, you're still among people,
right?
And you can also have that kind of. You can have a reflective and cathartic and contemplative experience with whatever film you're watching,
right?
But it's also like you're not in your
There's
home.
a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah,
right.
you have to end that time and then go back into the world and take the subway back to your house or to work and then do something. So it's kind of, I think it's like it's different that's an audition as opposed to like a process ending. So a process ending, you need something more than that. But for an audition, it's like, great, now I had like 2 hours, I'm done with that thing, and then I can go on to the next thing.
Sure.
For a process ending, I don't know what a movie is. Like, is it binging like the Star Wars prequels?
Right. That's funny.
And they mean like, yes, I will make good art because it'll be harder than this.
Yeah. That's what I need. I never thought I'd say it, but I think maybe I just need some Jar Jar in my life.
Well, so
light a fire.
For you, so you probably didn't stop production the same time I did because you've been doing more in terms of the outreach and development of the project since then.
Right, and I had the last pickup in December, like very close to
right.
thing. I think that may have been the timer.
Is it the timer?
I think that may have been the timer. Let's make sure we're not
burninating
the countryside. We'll be right back, folks.
This was Zach and Zach. Now 3 minutes left.
Okay, great.
And then it might be 2 more minutes.
Give it a little peek.
Ooh, it's looking good.
Oh my God, they look like muffins. They look like cupcakes.
I honestly can't get over how good that batter is.
It's really good.
It's so good.
So we have watching all of the Lord of the Rings extended editions, 12 hours of Hobbits.
Yo, I did try to do that in a day, and we fell an hour and a half short. We did it on Christmas, like the year after they ended. So it was like the year that we got the extended editions.
Wow.
And we started at like 12 or 1 p.m. and we took like an hour break at one point. and we were an hour and a half short of finishing.
And you just burnt out.
Well, because we didn't realize they were the extended editions when we started either.
That is so much.
So much Helm's Deep.
That is so much Helm's Deep. Oh my god, I realized the Tiffy cam is just like on her back.
The Tiff. Great job. I think you're gonna win a daytime Emmy for cat cinematography.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I think Webby Awards, I'm waiting for my...
Hey, you've been nominated.
Yeah, for my live streaming.
Oh, okay, got it.
And my lack of baking expertise. But
wait,
yeah.
so what have you been tackling your own post project funk? I don't know how do you want to how do you want to label it?
Right. So I think
but have you been tackling that with like any particular coping mechanisms, or
yes, I think there was definitely a period of binging content.
Yeah.
Just like watching a lot of stuff and sort of like staying distracted. There has been a large amount of workaholism where I've like, especially, and there's like a practical element of like, as freelance work has made itself available, I've just like grabbed it. And like there's an element of like, let me just like sock away cash so that like when the next idea comes along that costs more than it makes for like the first 3 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'll have
for like 75% of its life.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'll be able to like throw it on my credit card and not like be imminently homeless. Where there was a period last year where it's like,
Right.
like,
I remember that period for you.
Got close. And so like that's been something that I have mixed feelings about, because it's like feels great to get paid, but it's also like not fulfilling work compared to producing something like Wolf.
Right.
And then like as I think about bringing a show like Focused AF back, like I have a harder time thinking about how it will be a weekly show than thinking about making a daily show, but I can't make a daily show because that'll kill me.
Right.
And so it's like it's just like not what I think I need in my life.
How is the workaholism you're talking about different from, because kind of topically with your podcast, like you're the kind of person who kind of gets locked onto something and to your detriment sometimes forgets to eat, or prioritizes it over eating and sleeping.
Well, so that's the thing is like, I think that the purpose of the Focused AF show is like very much about like answering this question for myself.
That's the timer. I'll check on them, but it's probably 2 minutes away.
All right. I think you can hear me in there, so I'll just finish this thought.
Please.
Like the purpose of the show is to think through my thinking out loud and tell the truth about like where am I like not living in line with my values.
Right.
What are my values? Like I have more emotions and like random opinions than I do like well thought out principles.
Right.
And so like I think part of the show is going to be creating a space for me to sustain that thinking over time, and in dialogue with experts and people that I admire, so that I can come back to you and say like, oh, like this is what's important to me.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm not living in line with that as I'm doing it, so like the last couple weeks I've been reintroducing the practice of meditation in my life, and it's like amazing to see like the results of that when I do it. And it's funny to like realize like, wow, like it's really not that hard.
Yeah.
Like
When
20 minutes.
you don't do it, why don't you do it?
I think it's mostly the self-perpetuating negative feedback loop of like, I'm so behind in everything else, and like I just like don't feel like it, and like I'll get to it tomorrow, and like
it's that test taking thing though of like if you close your eyes for 30 seconds in between working for 30 minutes, then you're more productive, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm probably messing up all the statistics. It's one of those quoting something
right,
that
it's something like that.
It's one of those
like
things.
if you just take a 30-second break, it actually refreshes you.
It's funny because like so much of your life is centered around cultivating mindfulness and communities of mindfulness.
Yeah.
Is that the correct terminology, or
intentional? I don't know. Creativity, self-care is sort of what we talk about here.
Self-care Sunday.
Yeah.
But you get so locked onto those, like doing that the best that you can, that then you stop taking care of yourself, right? So it's fun. The company that I work with, the Humanist Project, their mission, our mission is how to incorporate as much of yourself as possible into your acting. And it's like, how do you do that thing? How do you essentialize what you are and pour as much of yourself into that thing and live that way? Like, what if your life is your greatest work of art?
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm gonna take the cupcakes out.
I love that. Should we move back into the other room?
Switch back. MacGyver it. We got a little lefty oven mitt here. Love it.
Another one over there.
These look pretty good.
I'm so excited to see them. Our chocolatey children.
Our children. See them dance.
Lefty Lucy. Righty tighty.
Ooh.
Oh, it's like it's not a.
No, it's not rolling yet.
But if you line it up, I can get it in focus. Those actually look way better than they have any right to be. Lefty Lucy. Right. Oh yeah. Look at that goodness. Press it too hard. All right, so we have cupcakes coming. How tall are you, Zach?
6 feet.
6 feet.
Yeah. Why?
Somebody's asking. That's right. Get the chat.
Yeah. She also asking why my Chicago accent is so good.
That's funny.
Always makes fun of my Chicago accent.
Chicago.
Chicago.
So what are we doing here? Do we need to frost these now?
No, we have to let them cool.
Okay.
This is the perfect time actually to do the fondant stuff, so I'm gonna put these back in the oven.
All right, great. And then I'll get the fondant out.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum.
Let's see if this worked at all.
Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum.
Ba 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 ba.
So these are the different colored fondants that we made out of marshmallow. For the background, the microphone, and the microphone. So I guess we start with the biggest one.
Yes. You know, we didn't need this, so we can put these back in the... But we can use it to see
How big
we want
need
it.
it. Yeah. So we roll these out? Is that what we do?
Yes.
Okay. With the rolling pin that I totally have.
What about... No, that's fine.
Maybe
We
I
can,
have like
we can use a glass
Right.
and just coat it in something.
Yeah, you know
Like
what?
a mason jar.
Mason jar. And
That's perfect.
Where's the thing with the...
The spread.
Yeah, the
It's over here.
creamy wipes.
The creamy wipes. Is that what it says to do? Let's look what it says to do first. Looking first. Hold on.
Yeah, I got you. Great. All right, so
We need to go to fondant land.
yep.
Cut out a circle. So I have to spread this out first. Did you take the plastic off?
Plastic off of that. Yeah. Oh boy.
Do you want to put the
Yeah, we probably should do
oil
that.
on it?
Yeah.
You're gonna break. We're gonna totally fuck that up. Back to fondant land.
Where is that stuff? The Libresco? Here we go. Yeah. So this stuff is shortening, and it's very useful for keeping the fondant from ruining your life.
Yes.
This is definitely okay to do, right, chat? Let's see what the... Great. So you're just gonna roll that out.
To 1/8 of an inch is what the site said.
Great, whatever that means. Read the instructions.
Is that what they're saying?
Read the instructions, you dingus. Your art is... Oh, that's something else. Use icing, sugar kids. Dingus is probably the best thing to call someone. Yeah.
It's loving but stern.
Yeah, it's like, you take care of yourself. You're doing a great job. Oh, we should have done this first.
Oh. Yeah. Shit. Shit.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Come on, just
Totally stuck. 1 second, let me get a knife.
Oh, I got you a knife.
Okay.
I get you a knife.
Thanks, bro. Or maybe a spatula?
Have you had a spatula this whole time?
Well, no, I was watching.
Oh my god. I'm gonna murder you. This is exactly how you want to do this. There's no better way.
1 second. Let's just finish this as it is. Let's roll it out, and then we'll
cut some stuff.
And then we'll
Is the top of that jar gonna be like the perfect size?
Is it? Oh my god, it is.
Wow. It's almost like we planned it.
It's uncanny how well
except
this is working
except that
out.
it's not at all.
Yeah.
Yo, I think we can make a few of these. I think we can make like 4.
Yeah. So like.
Do it really close to the edge. All right, never mind. So that we won't have to pick it up. It's a little small.
Yeah, but we can roll it out.
Ooh, that's an idea. Yeah. No, that's a terrible idea.
No, it's not.
You gotta consult me before you do stuff like that. All right, forget about that. We're gonna do 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here.
Okay, Zach. How's that?
Great. This is so gross.
It's really gross.
I can't even
believe
get
we're
with
gonna
like
eat
how
this.
fondant is.
What is?
We know what it is.
We made it.
Sugar, oil,
Yeah.
like vegetable oil, and
more oil, and then more sugar. So how are you gonna get these off?
I don't know.
Somebody's like, this is way more exciting than I thought.
They didn't know how bad we would be at this.
The stakes are really high.
Ugh, I can't. I'm never making fondant again. I hope this is like grossly tasty.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be.
I think that I am going to regret eating this, but I feel good about it emotionally. I think just physically my body is going to reject this. Let me get a plate for you, and let me cover that plate in oil.
This is not gonna. It's too.
It's stuck, right? It's too stuck.
Well, it's like. It's not gonna retain its form.
Do we want to fight it off and then
Let's
retake this?
Yeah, let's remake it. Let's remake the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Take 2. All is not well in fondant land.
They love the singing. Keep the singing coming.
Do they actually?
Oh, they actually said they want more singing.
This fondant has been worked to death.
I think we're essentially like helicopter parents of baking. Like we just do everything for a little too long.
Well, because in cooking, it's like you want to do it right. I don't know.
This is such a fucking mess I am living. Oh my god. Did you not grab the immersion blender? It worked so well earlier.
Who
Sing
said
some
that?
Kendrick Lamar.
Who said that?
Rena.
Oh man. I will.
Yo, this is. Hold on, let me eat some of this. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
All right. So I'm rubbing in the Crisco.
Yeah, just to put way more of that everywhere. All over.
Just it's going everywhere.
Actual versions of Eiffel and Kepler trying to bake. Cooking papas. So mamas and the papas. Man, that vegetable oil is just a lifesaver.
It's just so gross.
We really fucked this up.
Yes, we did.
On the plus side, our cupcakes look really good. So everybody who took shots of this for the immersion blender, joke's on you guys. It was really gross when it was like oozing out the side.
This is pretty gross.
I don't think we should do it with the top of this. It did not work before.
Okay.
Okay.
What do we want to do it with? Oh boy.
Right, it's too goopy, right?
Yeah. I think this sector is down.
Okay, hold on. How about we try this?
What are you doing right here?
I'm trying to. It's just way too goopy. You can't scoop it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Should we put it back in the freezer?
I think it's too late for that.
It's game over on fondant land. Why don't we build a really big radio?
Let's make a radio.
This
is too goopy.
It's too goopy. So how would we have made it less goopy? The chat. Don't get cocky. One of them cupcakes didn't even. What? No, they all rose.
Just like not as much as maybe they should.
Yeah. No, I put less in one of them because we didn't have that much because I was eating it. All right.
This is a fucking mess.
So wait, hold on. How do we want to try to make one thing to look like a radio? It's not going to be possible, is it?
I mean, it could be.
Never say never, Zach.
Zach, you're right. That is a mess. That is a ugly mess.
Watch them drop blue in a gross way.
Oh, God.
I hope I filmed that correctly. All right.
All right.
Let's make one. Yeah, let's make one.
Making one radio. You don't even need the blue for the radio.
No, you just wait. Hold on. I'm gonna make a little background.
Make a little background. You make a little background. I'll make a little radio. It'll be great.
I should put vegetable oil in my hands.
You really should have.
What?
We've learned nothing. Oh my God! There's so many marshmallows in this mess.
All these marshmallows for fucking nothing.
We had one job. That's not true. We had so many
jobs. Zach, put your radio on top of that.
Okay.
Can you do that? Will you be able to move it? Yes.
Okay. Okay. Oh God. Now that it's getting warmer, it's falling apart.
Hold on, I think this was the way to do it the whole time. Was like the unconventional way. I might have answered. I keep asking the chat questions and then looking away. I'm sorry, the chat. I've always loved you the most.
Oh God, this is not a radio.
Hold on, it's all about the blobbiness.
This is a monster.
It's like how I make beef patties. In my hand like this. Yes.
What is the feel of it like, Zach? Do you enjoy it? In your hand?
Alright, we get the point.
Oh God.
Look, we're like an assembly line. We can make lots of
I think we can
goofiness.
just agree that Maya Zolf did an excellent job.
Yeah. For the record, some people are born to make fondant. Some people are born to destroy.
You see how bad this radio is? I'm gonna make
I don't know, I think that should be the logo for Wolf. The fondant just tastes like marshmallows.
Dude, the button is awful. It's so bad.
That's really gross.
Oh, it's so gross, Zach.
Also, I think we are. Well, so the fondant, like, we're just gonna throw all that out. Okay, cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no way we're eating that.
On the plus side,
We have cupcake.
we have
frosting.
cupcakes that we can still frost.
I'm really excited for that.
All right, I'm gonna watch this.
Oh my god. This is really special. Wow. You know what's missing though? The radio's handle. Said nobody but me.
You know what's missing? Like, more fondant.
That's a radio. Okay, there's a handle. Oh, no, oh man.
A for effort.
That is such a booby prize.
But I'll take it.
Frosting. Now that camera is focused AF. Yeah.
That is one hell of a radio. Wolf 359.
Well, there's such an art to like doing everything within the sight of the camera.
Yeah.
It's a totally different. All right, frosting.
Yeah.
1 second, I'll move this fondant mess
Great.
so that you can move the. I'll leave the radio in frame because I mean it's art.
Lovely. All right. It's the radio frame because it's art. Yes, because it's science.
Can you just wipe that up with the all the bullshit we go through? And Zach, actually, the one other thing I would say is, why don't we get a plate so we could put all these guys on a plate,
Put all of.
as opposed to keeping them in the shelf.
Oh
here.
Yeah.
Do you want to grab a knife so we could both frost at the same time?
Absolutely. Oh, that was hilarious. That is just the worst fondant job
No, I don't think so. I think it was
on
like
the
an
internet this weekend.
Oh yeah. I think it was like more of just like an experimental fondant job.
Yes, it was an exploratory fondant job.
Alright, here we go. Frosting. Easier than fondant to manipulate.
Oh my god, this is so much easier.
I don't need that much.
Yeah. These are the tiniest cupcakes.
I probably could have put a little bit more,
Yeah.
a
And
little bit more
fewer.
batter on each of them. I made like 9 as opposed to 12.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We learned a lot today.
Dude, you gotta do better than
Did a really awful job. But hey, at least you know, can't
There's-
say I'm not consistent.
There are so many people who came to your community because they're like, I love what that person does, the quality of their YouTube videos and the podcasting, and they're watching this baking show being like, does that person do anything?
Yeah. Do they do anything else right?
And the answer is yes. Look at all the friends who are with us today.
So
Baking show.
so I'm curious, like,
Oh, we're gonna get back to talking about real stuff. now.
I feel like you mentioned some stuff the last time we were on, but I guess like, how do you think about self-care as an artist, and like, do you have like a working definition for like self-care? Is it something you don't think about?
I would say
Are we just eating these right now?
I think we're gonna eat one right now.
I was gonna.
You're gonna frost them all.
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Gotta frost them.
Gotta frost them all. Do I have a working definition for self-care? No, I would say I am at my happiest though when I'm like both taking care of myself as a person, as an artist, and as kind of a business. So I'm really, my self-care is kind of dependent on me making lists and keeping up with them. And when I'm not doing that, I feel it missing. Because so much of because the way I make money is more than as a freelancer than anything else. And because to get art jobs, like people aren't calling me, I have to go in for them. It's all about me getting myself into different rooms.
Right.
So I need to keep at it all the time. And that can lead me down some roads that are like pretty, I think, like self-destructive in terms of my thinking of like what I'm not doing as opposed to what I
Have done.
what I have done, or like what I can do if I build out every step.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my self-care is really dependent on me making the time to list the steps to be where I want to be.
So it sounds like it's a cumulative, like it's not like one day you feel like shit and you start doing like, I don't know, like you press the self-care button. It sounds like it's more of a process of...
It swings and it's about, it's goal-oriented.
Right, you start with the end in mind
Yeah.
of like where you'd like to be, and then you sort of work backwards.
Yeah, but it's not like
And it's holistic in that
It's
way.
not like the process isn't entirely rewarding in the respect that, like, being in different rehearsal rooms is one of my favorite parts of the process.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna put this radio on one of these. So we have one complete...
Yeah, how are you gonna be able to pick that up?
I'm not saying it's gonna look good. I'm just saying I'm gonna do it.
Oh, cool.
Oh god. Oh my god. It kind of looks like an evil nipple. With us.
Oh my god, I'm not eating that.
Nobody ever should. But it exists now, and it can go on Instagram. God. We have to do a side-by-side
Of what
he made and what we made.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready
Let's
to dig in?
let's
Or we gotta
switch
switch
to the
different
other camera.
Yes, I'm so excited about this.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh.
That's a really good cupcake.
For us, this is a miracle.
It's a little dry.
It's pretty dry. It's
like very
bone
cocoa
dry.
powdery.
Do you want some soy milk?
Is that all you got? Yeah, okay. I'm not bringing any to my camera.
Yeah, you don't give these to people you love.
No. I mean, it's good because of the frosting, because the frosting moisturizes.
Yeah. Really, we could just have frosting.
We probably should have just eaten it when it was like mousse.
We would have been at risk for salmonella.
Which we don't endorse on air.
Wow.
That's really terrific, actually.
So, it's because we beat it to death with the immersion blender.
Yeah, no, it's definitely because of that. We all knew it was because of that.
I had no idea. I thought that would make it better.
You don't.
What is this?
It's a live episode of Mission Mishaps.
Cheers.
Did you dunk it?
America runs on Dunkin'.
Do you want more soy milk? Because I actually don't like soy milk. I've just discovered. I'll try it again. I don't mind it. It's okay. I'm gonna just give myself one more sip.
We'll take questions if you guys have any.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is
Wow. I gotta say, even though the cupcakes weren't so successful, you're having another one.
Yeah, actually though, like an integral part of my self-care is when I'm really stressed out, I cook, which is not baking. Like I find baking like moderately more stressful than being alive.
Pretty stressful.
Because baking's all about like
Getting everything right.
it's getting it right, and cooking is like I want a little bit more cumin. In that accent. Why? Just why? I like to feel the smoke in his hand. When will there be justice for Hilbert? Please wash your hands before touching anything else. Don't lick your fingers like that. My laugh cured somebody's depression and BD. That's nice.
That's right. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah, that's really
laughed
sweet.
as much in years.
That's really sweet. Also, you're not 2 cupcakes in, so like, before you drive, you should take a sobriety test.
I'll tell you when to stop eating cupcakes.
No, but I remember I had a lot of pests in my kitchen in my first New York apartment, and there was like a dead mouse under the oven.
Ugh.
But I just cooked everything because I knew I was breaking my lease and leaving soon, so I was just like cooking everything and being like, I'm not gonna think about the dead mouse.
We can move back in there.
Yeah,
Now that
whatever.
this fucking mess is complete.
We did a great. It's really actually a horrible job. But
But we had fun while we did it.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
All right. Land this plane.
Yeah, let's land the plane. It's not like we have a lot to clean up later.
You don't have to deal with this.
I'll do some of it.
I'll deal with this.
All right.
Going back. Is it back on the other screen in there?
Yeah, great. Back on this screen, but it's not back on this camera.
Yeah.
Right, because the camera's out there. Man, I can't. It was so good when we whipped it too much. When we whipped it too much, it was so tasty though.
Right.
That's we just. Right.
We
I remember now.
We whipped too close to the sun.
We whipped. We whipped and then nay too close to the sun.
Wow. You took that meme to greater heights than I ever imagined.
Somebody made pierogies today, and is glad they're not the only one having dough issues.
Those cupcakes, you know, the only thing that is weirder than their taste is how they sit afterwards.
I wish I'd just eaten more batter. That's like if I have one regret, it's that I didn't eat more batter.
I think that is the regret. There are more regrets to be had, but that is definitely one that I share.
How often do we sit down and plan out your lists, or is it just an ongoing process? Like, do you have a...
No, that's a great question. I think looping audio.
Yeah.
We're getting me.
There's 2 speakers going on.
Oh, good. So then you were going like boom, 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 boom. For me, it's I try to do a big one once a week. I think the hardest thing for me is actually checking in on the list I've made, because I kind of get caught up in I've made the list, so like I'm done, as opposed to like I've made the list, now I have like nine things to do, and I have to go back and check them off as I go. Mm-hmm. You have a little bit of something right here. Yeah. That's right.
Oh God. Is it fondant?
No, got it.
Burn it.
Yeah. So that's for me. Surround sound.
What could be the cause of it, and how far? So this is Kepler seemed a lot softer in the last 2 mission mishap episodes. What could be the cause of it, and how far does the newfound sweetness of his how far can it go without becoming out of character?
Well, I didn't find it like out of character. I don't know what you thought about it. I think it's like a little bit of a softer side, but it's a really different situation because, like, this is somebody who gets really frustrated when people don't do their jobs, which is something that people on the Hephaestus are really good at doing. Like
Not doing their jobs.
Yeah. Like what would happen to? I mean, I recognize that like Eiffel and Minkowski and Hera are pretty betrayed by Hilbert really early on, which gets them to distrust Goddard as an institution. But what would happen to them if they like sat with that distrust and tried to be good employees at the same time and like do their jobs? Like that's a really different. Maybe there's not as much conflict. Maybe it's not as dramatically interesting. But there's a version in which I think they could become like good employees, like Kepler and like Cutter and Price might think of everybody as expendable. But they also might think, like, these people, as long as they keep doing their jobs really well, like, we want that. Like, because there's something about humanity that is good at problem solving in a different way than the robots I have to program are. I don't know. That's what I think about. So Kepler's like the do your job guy, I think of, and Jacoby and Maxwell are really good at doing their jobs most of the time and continuing to do their jobs and not revolting.
Right.
Yeah.
I do not know Hilbert's zodiac sign, Naomi Cotton. I'm sorry.
We can probably look that up though.
I think his
It's in the
his
Bible.
birth date is redacted,
Oh, it's not in the Bible.
not the public one.
All right. So we can't tell them things from the non. Yeah, but
And
that's
not canon.
that's a Gabrielle question.
And it's
then.
also not canon. Like anything in the Bible that isn't in the text of the show
Right.
is technically not
That's
not
fair.
canonical.
That makes sense. Kepler and Minkowski would have probably gotten along pre-season 1. I mean, except if they clash in taking up the same space.
I'm not sure what the question of what's your opinion on author's intent versus death of the author is. I don't know what
that means
I don't know
either.
what that means. What are your thoughts on Kep-Kobe,
The shipping of Kepler and Jacoby.
Well, how clearly articulated is Jacoby's sexual orientation in the show?
I think he likes the menfolk.
Right. So I think that's something that is canonical.
Yeah.
In terms of, I mean, I thought of the thing with Klein as being like a romantic or sexual relationship.
I felt that way too.
But I didn't think of like Kepler and Jacoby as being in a sexual or romantic relationship. In terms
Right.
of being like great friends, I thought of them as definitely being really good friends and like employee.
And I have problematic
partners.
feelings about it because I think like workplace
That's
power
exactly how I feel.
dynamic stuff like gets weird.
Somebody's like 2 rungs up from you in the ladder, and then
It's kind of exploitative.
you guys have to have like a really open conversation about what's going on if you were ever going to do that.
Right. And then it's challenging with power dynamics and just like employment in general.
We're seeing that. We're seeing people have abused their power in employment over and over, and it's coming to light a little bit right now.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot
beginning.
more. There's a lot more to scrape off, right?
Yeah. So I have some problematic feelings about Kep-Kobe in that regard.
Yeah.
The problem for me is I see the two of you in the studio and you're adorable and
Right.
you're really sweet with each other and you're not in some hierarchical setting that would be problematic. And so
Libresco's a decline.
a decline shipper? You
Well-
liar after writing.
Well,
that?
but
No complaint.
but I
maybe?
kind of think of like, I think of Kepler a little bit as a work dad.
right.
Like I think if he falls into a relationship that we see in our everyday lives, it's less of a romantic relationship with everybody. I think much to the show's credit, there aren't on screen or in ear romantic relationships.
In-ear,
It's not that kind of show.
Yeah.
And to me, it's refreshing that it's not that kind of show. Like all the sexual romantic relationships are off ear, or not in that space.
got a longer question.
Oh, he's gonna scroll up in the chat. Watch out.
How do you balance making art for passion and for work? I just love creating just because it's fun, but I'm also interested in working in a creative field? That's like a really solid question.
For art or for work?
Like, how do you balance
Well, I think
doing it for the love of it,
right,
and
versus
making it
doing
your
for-
living?
Right. I haven't had too many options to marry the two. Like I think it depends on what kind of situation you're in, whether you can afford to run that middle ground, or however much you can marry the two. You might be able to speak to this more. For me, it's like I have to make time for my art because like I approach my art like I am an artisan. Like I have to build my craft and I have to continue building it. So I have to spend something like an hour a week doing my art, and then I can build it from there. And when I'm in rehearsal processes, I can kind of loop that in, because if I'm doing like 40 hours a week in a rehearsal process, in addition to whatever I'm doing to make money,
Yeah.
I give myself a pass those days. But it's best when I'd like to build in like 15 minutes a day, 6 times a week
Of what?
to work on whatever I'm working on,
Which is
like prepping for auditions, or writing, or building whatever play, or building whatever physical score I'm building at that time.
Yeah.
I have a lot of things that supplement those things, but in terms of, I think it's important that you build. For me, it's important that I build my art time separate from whatever I'm thinking of making money doing, because that's how I'm going to build my craft.
Does that include shows you're paid to be in?
I think it can. I think like however you define that works for you.
Right.
I think for me, like, do I build in that time in addition to shows I'm in? No, because a lot of the time when I'm doing the show and I'm making money, like I don't have other time. Like
Right.
I'm best served by sleeping.
Do you see the shows that you're in as building your craft?
Yeah.
Right. I would say that too, and I think like I guess that like I'm curious. It wouldn't have occurred to me that would not be considered your art time, in the sense of maybe you're playing a role that you feel typecast in, and it's something that you're doing for money, but you're also, it's like kind of close.
I think it can depend on the project, but I think there are ways. If I'm not feeling invigorated by what's happening, I think there are a lot of ways for me to jumpstart feeling invigorated, which are like going back to different kinds of fundamentals of training, or sparking it with like creative writing exercises to get myself into a different mindset about whatever I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah. Kepler never considered you.
No, he did not call me senpai. I don't know who would have. That's, I don't know.
What's senpai?
I don't know. It's like forget about it. It's like a meme-y, like sort of like martial arts master thing.
Libresco. Yeah, that's my name. Yes.
So what? Dr. Hilbert senpai. I guess before we get too far away from this, I think the tricky thing, like I've, as a filmmaker, gotten in a situation where like I took a job as a filmmaker that killed the joy of making movies outside, because it's the same activity of staring into a screen that is not good for your eyes, like fundamentally. And so I've definitely been in that position of like, I don't want to do the thing that I got into it to do because of doing the thing to make money instead of like fulfill the love. So it's like like one thing that I've had to do, and it's like scary, is adjust my pricing so that when I'm doing work that's not aligned with what I want to be doing as a filmmaker, it's buying me more time disproportionately to what I would have charged previously. The problem is then you get less work, which means you have to then increase the price. So it's just like, there is definitely a balance. And I think the thing about balance, just to like get a little meta with your question, is I think that often we talk about balance like Tucson, like it's a place that you get to and then you're there forever. And I don't
But it's
think
a
balance
constant
is that.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in working with physical trainers and like on a little like ball, like balance is like this incredibly difficult, constantly engaged thing that like it may look like you're not doing anything to the outside, but you're like sweating.
But it's something it's like the force. There's the potential for balance in all things at all times,
Right.
Even though it can be like
Incredibly
increasingly
strenuous.
elusive from a percentage standpoint in certain situations.
Right. And it's it's an engaged process, not a destination that you arrive at.
Right.
And then you're like,
I
there.
completely agree with balance the process.
Right.
It's a process you continue to engage in, and maybe you get better at figuring out, but not something that you ever achieve forever.
And that's like, I love this. Like, I've been reading more, and I think that it doesn't come as naturally to me, but like bringing logic to that process, like the way an engineer would build a machine. Like, if you start to write things out and plan things out and get a second opinion and like build things in that logical way, there's an upper limit of that. Like, there's like, fundamentally we live in a universe that's like prone to entropy, right? And so like disorder will reign at some point. So like, you can't make a perfect system. Like, there's no perpetual motion machine, like, that is like equally balanced. Like, it's always going to take more energy to put in than you kind of get out. And so, yeah, I think there's that's what I would say to that.
I'm gonna go back for a couple things.
Should I scroll back?
No, I got it.
Okay.
So the first thing is to say what you're talking about, like applying logic to the next. Somebody asked about the Humanist Project. We don't have anything online for you to watch because it is the contract we were under. It is illegal to videotape,
Right.
of course. But our next project is something that is a devised clown piece with quantum physics and old Russian fairy tales. So I'll give you guys more details, or I'll give Zach details about that.
Yeah,
when
please.
I have more it'll be going up in May if you're around the New York City area.
And follow him on Twitter at
And
Zach Libresco.
I'll let you know what's up with that. Also, people are saying that senpai is not necessarily a teacher, but just somebody above you, socially. Which, I wish I had known. I worked in a ramen restaurant for a while, so I do know restaurant Japanese. So, to the people in the chat bringing wisdom to our lives, arigato gozaimasu. Zach-san.
I love you.
Zachary-san.
I love you. So I guess like starting to.
And another fun Japanese fact for you: when somebody's like slightly higher than you, or like you want to use the formal, it's you put san after their name, so it's Zach-san. But if somebody's like your friend or like your little brother, you say Zach-chan.
That's cool.
Which I love. Those suffixes can mean so much. Like it's something also in. I vaguely say like survival French, restaurant Japanese, but in French like the vous voyez and the tutoyer.
Right.
Which I know I'm bastardizing those pronunciations. I'm sorry.
Ce n'est pas un problème on self-care Sunday.
Ça suffit. You are enough.
Oui, oui.
Those were a couple of things I want to go back for. Did you want to keep going with our bromentum?
This is pretty great. So I was gonna say, as we start to wind down, I guess, what are some things that I don't know? I guess like looking back as somebody who is like creating a process, like if you could, like give yourself some advice, what would that advice be? Like maybe like fresh out of college or like.
Well, I think the thing I've learned is that it kind of takes you. My theater education really prepared me to be a deviser and collaborator in the room, but in terms of getting into the room, it didn't prepare me for the business side of theater at all, which stinks because like it's hard to do the thing you're good at if you can't get in. But I think it honestly takes like 3 years to get into your industry, and so it took me about that amount of time to like get entrenched in my industry. What would I say if I could go back? I think something I'm going to say to myself going forward is to keep myself honest, keep my schedules, because when I get away from that, I do get sad. Yeah. And I get disappointed in myself. Yeah. And I think that actually and I can forgive myself for those things when I get in a good pattern, but I honestly believe the best way to habituate good patterns is to stay on those patterns. So I think going forward, it's going to be to incorporate more rigor into the way I keep myself on track, and being open to that having multiple definitions, but not letting myself off the hook just because I don't feel like it.
Right. How
because
practically do you see yourself implementing that?
I think for me, it's really like I'm coming up on audition season, so I've got like 15 or 20 things circled for like the next 3 weeks. So it's going to be a lot, right? But I think for me, it's like targeting the ones I know I have to hit, doing some that I can like go 50-50 on, and then some that are reaches.
So prioritizing them.
So all the ones I have to hit, I have to get up and I have to go to those.
Yeah.
Like, and then the 50-50 ones, I'll go to half of those. And then the other ones, if I miss more than 50% of the 50-50 ones,
They're okay.
well, if I miss more than 50% of the 50-50 ones, I have to incorporate like the reaches more.
Nice.
Right?
Right.
So I'll get like literally around half of the auditions I list.
Right.
Or I'll go in for that amount. Because succeeding in this business is all about building relationships.
Right.
Because for me, I've gotten great feedback. Like when I get into rooms, people want to continue working with me that I've been in the room with who I want to continue working with.
Right.
So it's like once they know me, they want to keep working with me. So I have to continue to put myself out there
Right.
to continue working with people. I think the other thing is the other advice I'm going to give myself going forward, because I'm spinning your question a little bit, but I think like how can I turn the spot I'm in now into a spot that I'm proud I went from here A to B in X amount of time, is I'm starting this podcast with my dad. So I'm going to continue to use you and Gabrielle and Sarah and Amanda as resources.
Yeah.
Amanda McLaughlin, who's McLaughlin?
Shout out. Yeah, McLaughlin.
Great at pronouncing her name correctly. Because like you guys know so many of the things that I'm going to be doing for the first time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give myself a pass on like feeling bad for asking for help.
Please.
Because like I'm so excited to get my dad onto the internet.
Yeah.
So I think those are the two pieces of advice, like more rigor in keeping my schedule and reaching my goals.
And it sounds like building in room for failure, like room
for failure and
not show
flexibility.
up. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I do want to keep myself on the hook more.
Yeah.
I think like the way that I work is like I'll get up for an audition and dread going to it, and then go in, feel great, and leave and feel great. Like and I might know every time I'm getting up and going to something that I'm not going to feel good.
Right.
Yeah, that I'm not going to feel good during that time. And maybe that's the secret. It's like I know I don't feel good now, but like as long as I get in there and I'm in the headspace of like I am here to make a connection, as opposed to I am here to wow you with my prowess at my craft. Like I'm here to make a connection and do the thing I want, and if that solves your problem, that's awesome.
Right.
Like as long as I go in with that mindset, like I'm going to succeed at that thing I want to do.
You're not there to get a job. You're there to meet future collaborators. Mm-hmm. Whether it's on this job
and keeping myself on the hook of like still like even if it's not to get the job, it's like investing all the way in my craft when I'm there, not for them but for me.
Right.
So I can do my best work. So the first one is like more rigor in scheduling and in more rigor and flexibility in scheduling and goal setting.
Yeah.
And the other one is feeling okay about asking for help more.
I love those.
Yeah. How about you going forward?
I think that you just nailed the things that I've been thinking about. I think I've been spending less of my time on social media because I find it incredibly distracting.
Yeah.
And I think there was a period last year where I got I don't know if clinically depressed is appropriate because there was no clinician to tell me, but I definitely hit a low
Except
point.
for the doctor.
Except for doctor. Doctor always knows. But yeah, I think there was a period of time where I got really swept up in the metrics of all this.
Yeah.
And lost sight of myself and my, honestly, my, purpose. And I think that my purpose is not, the thing that I lost sight of as I started to feel like, oh no, life's meaningless. I got to this place of waiting for it to be a location that would I would arrive at and then be at forever, rather than this sort of engaged process of falling out of balance and getting back in balance, and having that be a process.
Right. Right.
And so as I spent less time on Twitter and more time reading and listening to audiobooks, and one of the books I'm listening to is this book called Principles. I'm excited to, in dialogue with the people that I love and admire, develop my principles, and sort of I think I'm taking a period of time to marinate in good thinking, and not good as in right, but just I'm talking to Gabrielle's roommate Ariella Axelbank about what okay, politics are important, and the U.S. is figuring out some like capital S shit right now, but like I don't know, what's her name? Tina Fey spoke at my high school graduation and said, like, you should watch out, New York kids, because it's easy to feel like you're from New York and not American. It's important you feel American. At the time, I just smiled and nodded because it's fucking Tina Fey. But now I'm like, is it important to be an American? Like, I think I think I'd be denying something to say that it's, it's not. But what is useful about nationalism and healthy about nationalism? What's harmful about it, as somebody who would love to see humanity come together and like, I'd love to die with fewer people killing themselves, maybe, ideally nobody,
Right.
Because it seems so senseless. Yeah, so basically I'm like excited to take this year to look at my why a little bit and sort of explore that, and hopefully through this channel and through Focused AF do it in a way that is, inviting more people into their own version of that conversation.
What's a tangible goal you can set for yourself with just time and meditation? Because it sounds like that's really positively affecting how you're habituating patterns right now.
I mean, I could set an arbitrary thing of like, 5 days a week, X number of minutes.
Yeah.
I feel like that hasn't been useful in the past. Not like it won't be again, but it just becomes about like doing things right.
Right.
So I don't necessarily have something specific that I'm looking to commit to right now.
Gotcha.
One of the things that made a big difference in the last couple weeks, and I've been doing this in dialogue, I have these town halls with people on my Patreon where we just like talk about like what we're all up to and like mostly like how I'm approaching what I'm thinking about. And one of the things that they like called me out on last time is like, it seems like you don't have an agenda. Like this stream is like going poorly and could go better. And so I've had an agenda for every live stream I've done. And like, right.
I love the agenda today.
Right. Like
kept us right on every swipe, even though it was like not always perfect with the camera.
And that's the thing. It's like, I expect it to not be perfect, but
Right.
it's like with an agenda, it just goes so much better. And like one of the things that I'm working on, and in the chat, in the notes below, you can find it. I have a speaker recommendation form, so people can like recommend guests. So I can start to do more of an outreach beyond my personal network to bring people in that are creators that the audience admires, that I might be able to learn from. So,
That's awesome.
So I think the thing that I'm committed to is like, and am getting more specific about my goals around, or putting processes in place that make life easy, where it's always going to be a bit of a mess because like life can be messy, and like especially when you're like a one-man band trying to do what costs like $1 million a day with a TV studio. When I'm doing these streams,
Right.
just make it as easy as possible.
That's awesome. Yeah, putting in that shorthand so you don't have to rebuild the world every time.
Yeah.
Somebody asked for advice about networking.
Yeah.
I think it depends what kind of networking you're doing, but for anything where you're in person and people are going out afterwards, always go to the hang. Always go to the hang, because that's where you can make a personal connection.
Yeah.
And so a frame of mind that I have to, or a perspective I have to remind myself about networking, is that it's not really about me making a connection. It's that like me, the other person, and me both making a connection, and that we can solve each other's problems. Like we are then here for each other, so that we are part of a pool of resources in solving each other's problems.
Right.
There are a lot of different kinds of, like, you can go from somebody who knows your name. There are different like mindsets on doing this, which are like making different circles of people, and like the closest people are people like Zach to me, who are like people who are like, hey, would you help me do this thing? And he's just like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, and he's like, can I get paid for it? And I'll be like, I can give you food,
Yeah.
which is like, honestly, we gotta hit him up with his day rate every now and again. But so there are people in like tier 1, and then people in tier 2 who are people who we both know each other, but we're not like great friends. And then people who in tier 3 were like, I know their name, and people in tier 4 who I want to know or want them to know my name. It's about people moving each of those people in a sphere.
Right.
It's like move them in one spot at a time. It's not going to happen overnight. Those are a couple more tips on networking.
The way I think of, I like that. With networking, when it becomes about getting something from people, I don't do well, because I feel like I come across as salesy. I feel gross. It makes me sad.
Right.
So I think your advice really makes a difference for me, and having that mindset of I get to show up and be helpful for people. I think before I even get to that place, I think thinking about what is the mission that I am on as a human being that's bigger than myself. So it's like, okay, maybe in the short term I want an acting job, say.
Yeah.
And so I want to network with casting directors in order to be more likely to be picked for one of those jobs. I think asking the question of like, why am I interested in being a performer? Like, what is my acting in service of that's bigger than me? And when I start to see like the reactions that you guys have had to an episode like Memoria of Wolf 359,
Yeah.
it's like a no-brainer, like why I would want to act, because it's like I am like connecting humanity to itself, including me.
Right.
And that's like what a beautiful mission to be a part of. And then it's like getting out the door for a networking event feels like a self-expression rather than a chore.
Yeah. Yeah. However, like what is the way, from what you just said, it's like, what is the way to work backwards from the product of like that catharsis or that fulfillment of the big art project, and say like, how can that fulfillment also be like an audition or networking?
Yeah.
How can we bring that mindset to that idea? Because like the generosity with which we approach those kinds of creative endeavors is what we're trying to get to from, I know I keep hitting the microphone, I'm sorry, is what we're trying to get to from casting. It's actually almost 4:00, so I have to go.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to grind this
Having
down.
way too much fun, starting 2 hours late, doing a 2-hour live stream.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Definitely check out Zach's Twitter at Zach Libresco.
And if you can't make your cupcakes perfect, make them too dry.
I will see y'all in the community forum if you join that. That's community.focus.af. And right now we're going to be doing a weekly Two Truths and a Lie with anybody in the community that wants to volunteer. I'm in it right now. You can read my two.
I have no idea which one of yours is real, by the way.
You looked at them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really...
I think it's actually the stuffed animal one. You're like doing a very small thing wrong. That's my guess.
I will neither confirm nor deny. We're going to be doing the answers next Friday in the community, and I'll announce it here in the stream for anybody who's not in it. But go there, check it out. Oh, and one more thing.
Wow, Queen, you're so beautiful.
Also, I love Tiffy. Tiffy's great. Somebody asked how I felt about her. I am mildly allergic to cats. This was Self-Care Sunday.
You were way better at finding this button, by the way, than I am.
You